Good evening, everyone, and welcome to EduTALK. EduTALk is a bi-monthly virtual talk show created out of the need for a global learning community and focus on topics in education that directly impact Caribbean nations and the diaspora nationals working across the globe. EduTalk features teachers, principals, administrators, business leaders, dignitaries, and students who share their expertise on topics facing education today, with the common goal of moving education forward and our students upward. My name is Dr. Dwayne Dice. I'm your host, co-host actually, with Dr. Miguel Barca. We'll talk to you in a little bit. I'm the founder and CEO of Education Solutions International. And my distinguished co-host here, Dr. Miguel Barker, along with our two guests. So Dr. Barker, as usual, we're here, we're live and direct. What's happening over there? I know it's kind of like morning for you. Dr. Barker? Dr. Barker is gone. He will be with us really, really soon, as soon as he can get his act together. Okay, so we have also with us Daniel Kaplan, as well as Juliana Dice, and Juliana is part of my own flesh. Dr. Barker, can you hear me?
Yeah. It sounded like I lost connection just now.
Yeah. All right. So before we go to our wonderful guest here, two guests, just say something about, because we're promoting student voices tonight. So let me hear something from you before we start.
No, I think it's great that our audiences get to hear the voices of young people. One of the things that education is faced with is the fact that we tend to have adults who talk a lot about education, but we forget to include the voices that are affected by the decisions we make. So I think today and May is a wonderful time to demonstrate how voices can be included, and also to give these voices a chance to be heard, to share their passion, their interests, their motivations. So today we celebrate young people. Giving them a chance to speak about what it's like.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I'm totally in agreement with that, with the promoting voices. It's really awesome. And what better use of our time than to listen to them, their experience, what they're going through on a daily basis. I know for one, Juliana will talk your ears off. So we're gonna let her keep it very short. It's good to see you guys. Daniel, it's so good to see you on screen. Usually meet in person. So let's get you guys to introduce yourself. Daniel, let's hear from you first. Tell us your name and a little bit about you that you want to share with everybody.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Daniel Kaplan. I'm currently in 6th grade, and what else should I share? I don't know.
Yes.
Math is my favorite subject in school, and I love to learn new strategies on how to solve problems, and especially real life problems are definitely my favorite types of schoolwork and subjects as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel. And then we're gonna come back to you. Let's talk to Juliana. Juliana, tell us a little bit about you. I know you have been on a lot of our reading shows, and so now you get a chance to just represent you. Tell us about you.
Hello, my name is Juliana. Right now I'm in 3rd grade.
Okay, which school and what are some of the things you love to do?
I'm in McFarland Park Elementary School, and I like to have a lot of friends and hang out with them.
Typical of you, Juliana. Typical. Dr. Barker is thinking, oh boy, yes, similar to my kids.
And it's great to meet you guys. Really great.
Yeah, all right. So you know, on the idea of, because we're gonna keep you guys a little bit because you know it's almost bedtime. We on the account of schooling. We let's start with schooling first. If you enjoy school, what are some of the things you look forward to in school on a daily basis? Daniel, you first.
Well, I always look forward to school every morning because I love to like know that I'm gonna learn something new every single day, and I get to see all my friends, and I also get to learn new things and just like have more knowledge, and
Mhm.
I love school.
Okay. Is there any particular time of the day that you look forward to, or any day in particular?
I like all days. I
You
don't
like all days? Okay. All right. No pressure. What about you, Juliana? Any particular day you look forward to? I know, for one, let me share. For one, and Dr. Barker would probably agree with this. The first day of the week, I don't like it. I'm usually tired on a Monday, and I just like, oh God, can this be over with? And then let Tuesday come in. So Mondays are not my totally best days. I look forward to the rest of the week, and I love a Friday, not because it's the last day before the weekend, but because you know, everybody else is tired, and it took me a while to actually, you know, get into the groove, and I look forward to closing out the week with a bang. So what about you, Juliana?
I mean, I kind of like Wednesdays because I mean, like, it's the middle of the week and like I'm just getting used to like being back for the week. And like, I always try to like make it seem like it's my favorite time of the week.
Oh,
But I
okay.
mean, but I mean, I don't think it really works to like show it off.
Okay. What do you mean, like show it off? Wait, you say you
Like,
don't.
like maybe tell some people like oh, Wednesday is the best day of the week for me, or
Oh,
like stuff like that.
stuff like that. Okay. All right, all right. Um, so Dr. Barker, so I'm gonna share because you probably grew up to around the same. We share our experience, you know, growing up. And in this day and age, kids are different than when we were growing up. We created our own toys. These kids actually buy their own toys. We actually created our own, like a wheel we created. We cut that wheel out of wood. If we're gonna have a truck in our possession, we actually built that truck out of paper boxes or plastic bottles. You know, nowadays Daniel will probably play games on his computer, and Juliana, Jesus, Juliana cannot get enough of Roblox. You know, so the idea of gaming and friendship and so on, especially friends now they hang out online and they talk to each other online, and they said we're gonna hang out, and the hanging out is that they meet online and they play Roblox or they play video games, some other form of video games, and they're hanging. We Dr. Mark, we used to hang out in person and we play
Yeah.
our games are in person.
I think it's good to highlight that the fact that you mentioned the fact that we made our own toys and we hang out a lot in person, a lot more,
Mhm.
which it's a good thing to note. But I suppose it's good to ask the voices that we have here today, you know, given that we're still doing school in the way that I went to school, I'd like to ask them, and each of them can respond one after the other. You can choose the order in which you want to respond. But if you were to change school so that it would fit into the way that you think it should be, given how you enjoy learning, I'd like you to think about this and tell me two things that you would change to make school better for you. Two things you would change to make school better for you.
Who wants to go first?
And I want you to think of it as like almost like two bad ideas that they could put into school to make it better. Just give it a very open thought. You're not trying to get this perfect. You just say, I'll see what happens. Who's ready to go? Can do one at a time. Who's going to go for one?
I'll do it.
Yes.
All right. So two things that could really make school more enjoyable would be like shifting the school hours, not like limiting it by an hour, but like shifting it back an hour. Like if school were to start at 8, start at 9, and if school ends at 3:30, ends at 4:30, like shift the hours back an hour so I can like sleep better through the night, which is very important for a good day because like sleep really like helps you like clean the mind out, well, sort of, and
Mhm.
think better after a good night's sleep.
Okay. Okay. Do you have your second one or you want to just wait a little?
I don't know yet.
Juliana, what about?
Julian, are you ready to go or should I just question Daniel for a bit?
I'm ready.
Okay, go on.
So I would maybe think to do the same thing, and
Okay.
also like maybe try to make things a little bit like sometimes you go over the same thing, like sometimes in my class, like we do the same thing for one day, and so we go over it for the one day. But like maybe you go back for that, like maybe like a few days later,
Yeah.
just to like review.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's an interesting one that you both agree on this idea. So can we delve into that a little? Why do you think that? Do you think your friends would want this as well, or is this a personal thing?
I personally would
Yeah.
think is it me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I personally think everyone could take another hour of sleep because why not? It's
Sleep.
sleep is nice.
So why don't schools do this? What might be the reasons why schools don't do this? Can you think of any reason why they might decide to keep it at 8 o'clock and not 9 o'clock, as you're saying? Everybody wants it, but can you think of any reasons why they might do this?
It's gonna mess up the timing of like parents going to work or could mess around with after school timing or
Well, that's two reasons. So you're thinking that parents going to work might be affected by that. And you're saying also that after school might also be affected because of perhaps activities that people do after school. Julian, you have any thought you want to throw into that?
I mean, I kind of think the same thing, and that like maybe like the reason why they're not doing it is maybe like when you're older, you're not gonna have like the time to just like wait until like 9 o'clock to do things. Maybe they're trying to get you into like an early lifestyle.
Early lifestyle.
So you went to school during COVID, right? You remember that? Did in any way did your school change the timings at all when you were going online?
yes, my school really changed it a lot. They gave us like a lot more time like for break. Like they gave us like 10 minutes between classes for breaks. And now we have like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're in person, it takes a while it doesn't take a while, but it takes time to go to your locker, get your stuff, then go to the next class. Well, for Zoom, you should like log out and then log into the next Zoom. It takes like 30 seconds. So
So you're thinking that didn't make sense?
I don't know. I think so.
It's a good observation, though. It's a very good observation. Yeah.
Juliana, seem like you have something to say.
I mean, my time didn't really change. I mean, like maybe like a lunchtime would get longer
Yeah.
because I mean, like you would pick your lunch and stuff. But I mean, like really nothing changed for me.
Okay. But do you know that, you mentioned the idea of work might be an issue, but do you know that a lot of people's work life has changed after the pandemic into, they call it flexi and work from home, which allows people now to work and start at different times. Are you aware of that?
No, they're not aware of it.
Not aware. So if you were to, because it seems to me, and you're not the only kids that say this, I have students in my school who say this as well, that we need to look at the time, the start times. And you gave 2 reasons or 3 reasons why you think adults and governments aren't willing to make this change. So it means then that change cannot just be done by schools, right? It has to be done by the whole society. But where do we start? Where would we start if we wanted to see this change? Do you have student councils in your school?
Daniel, yeah, they do have student council.
I guess so, they do, but
But what?
I don't know if that's really going to affect them. So, like,
Why would you think that?
because yes, they can say something like, we need to change this, but that's just that one school. Like this like needs or should change, in my opinion,
Yeah.
around the world, not just one school.
So are you saying that you don't believe that you could make a change that affect the world as a student? Can you think of any young people who has done anything that has affected the world by just saying, I think this is important?
Yes, I do know people.
Because you sounded so defeated. You just went, no one will listen. And
So it is
you'd have to
possible,
change.
but it's not super common.
But what?
I mean, everything is possible if you work hard for it. So if we worked hard enough to do it, we could do it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So so guys, speaking of change here, you actually, apart from enjoying school and looking at the whole aspect of school life and how changes can occur and changes can cause you to think differently, you have a certain amount of work that you have to complete in school, and then outside of school you have a different lifestyle. Like when you leave school, you're thinking, okay, I'm finished with the books for a little bit, no more structure as it is to run from one class to the next. And then you reach home. It might be from the transition from school to home. You start thinking about your actual skills that you have. You do have skills that you might put on hold when you go to school to take care of school duties. And then you pick up those skills in your head, your creativity and your critical thinking outside of school. And you say, let me do this because nobody's watching me. I don't have any expectations. And so you guys are involved in writing, you're involved in photography, you're involved in speaking, you're involved in singing. This is the moment when you express yourselves, and it's sort of different from school. So I want you guys to talk about some of the things you do outside of school, without the expectations of school. Who want to go first? Juliana, want to go first? Yes, talk about some of the things you're doing outside of school, and then Daniel.
I mean, I kind of just come home and then like get everything in the right place for the next morning. And then like maybe like sit down, take a notebook up and like maybe continue a story or start a story. And then like after like maybe an hour or two, I'll like maybe try to like interact with other people online, you know, like call some of my friends and be like, oh hey, like how's it going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's
it. Okay. And you talk about writing your story. Do you sing too? Do you write songs?
sometimes,
Sometimes.
but
Okay.
mostly
All right.
it's books.
And books. Okay. So mostly you write stories, but you actually have songs too. Daniel, what are some of the things you do outside of school without the expectations of school?
I do a lot of photography. I like
Yes.
to photograph things, and I
All
also
right.
like, oh,
Yeah, go on, because we
I
wanted
also
to share
love to play
some.
sports
Mm-hmm.
and be active. And
Okay. All right. So Juliana, we're gonna come back to you because we wanted to share with the world some of the things that you're doing. So we ask you to share your writing with us. But Daniel, you mentioned photography, and so I wanted to share some of the ones that you have taken. And these, I'm telling everybody here viewing, the viewers here, they look really, really much like professional photography. To me, they're professional, and Daniel is truly a professional when it comes on to taking photography. I'm not talking about professional as being certified, but some professional shots he has taken. So I'm gonna ask him to share some of those. You ready, Daniel?
yep.
Go ahead, please.
So earlier today, I printed some of my favorite photos I've taken of. So I photographed baseball games, like because that's my favorite sport. So I went to a baseball game and brought my camera, and I took some
Yeah.
photos of the players, which came out really nice.
Mhm.
So just a few,
Yeah.
and a lot of the stuff happens very quickly. Like, they're not posing for you; they're just doing their thing, and it's not always easy to catch everything. So
Mhm.
just a few photos to go through.
Yeah, I love those ones. I can imagine that you have taken those ones, and they're as you said, they're actually doing their thing. They're not waiting and posing for you to take a photo. Do you have another one?
I have a few more.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what kind of equipment do you use?
Hmm?
What kind of equipment do you use to capture these images?
I use a Canon camera.
Okay. And how did you acquire that camera?
My brother does photography as well, and I started to use his old camera. So
Okay. So
Pretty
these are
good.
like
Okay.
high spec cameras that with big lens and that kind of thing. Tell me a little.
it's not a huge lens. It's the basic thing for now, but once I get like more into it, probably get like more and more lens to make the photos better and better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold up one more for us to look at, please.
Another one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty
So when
remarkable.
you take a shot,
Hmm?
what's the thought process? How do you kind of, because these
Oh.
seem very much active shots, and it's clear that there's a lot of thinking going into it. The image is right in the center of the picture. You seem to catch the whole person, but you never really catch them in normal poses. They seem to be in active. So what's his thought process?
This is sort of a normal pose. They're just standing there, but
Yeah.
like some of them, like this photo, I can like expect like this guy happens to every single time he gets on base. He does a little prayer to like God, I think.
Okay,
So
I didn't
I
know
was
that.
expecting that and hoping I could get a great photo of him doing that, and so I was very prepared for that and snapped the shutter at the right time and got that photo.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very, very
What's
good.
your plan with all these photos?
Mhm.
I just know like I need to like do a little bit of research before on knowing what they do, like when, like so I can be prepared, like who prays to God, who celebrates with like a fist pump,
Wow.
who's like just gonna be there and doesn't celebrate or doesn't do anything. Or
It's kind of like a photo story that you can create a magazine with, you know. It's really, really cool. And when you share that with me, I'm like, geez, this is really cool to share, because that's what the industry sells, the idea of story and celebration to the rest of the world. And you have that gift already that you need to nurture and, you know, just promote as much as possible and become better and better. It's remarkable already. Yeah, Dr.
thank you.
Barker and I, if we take those pictures, it will all look as if the guy is in motion still, and part of him is gone. It's blurred out because we don't know how to control the camera so much. So it's pretty cool. The Juliana, you write stories, and I know you have been writing since you were probably 4 or something like that. And you wrote some really nice stories that I read too. And you're asked to share just a little bit of part of your story. One of the stories that you're writing in your book.
I mean, my story isn't as cool as the pictures, but I mean, like, I try to interact with the people that are reading the book as they read. So,
Okay.
yeah. So one of my stories that I'm gonna share is the plant girl, because my teacher really likes plants, so I thought that maybe I could make it.
Okay.
One day there was a girl. She was no regular girl you normally see on the street. She could actually control plants. One of her favorite plants to control is vines, because they are so skinny, and that made them easy to control. Now, once upon a time, there was a little girl named Abigail Mary. She lives in Greenville. One problem about Greenville, they don't have real plants or trees. They only have plastic plants and trees. So Abigail's powers couldn't work in Greenville. She was determined. She wanted to find a real living plant. She was determined to find a real plant. Now, come along with us. Let's do this journey together. After 5 hours, she got out of the house, but we got lost in the woods. There are wolves and different crazily scary animals. Are you afraid of spiders? Well, we are. Now we walk and walk, and we have found a cottage. We go inside the cottage. Where are we? This place is a disaster. A short woman comes out of a room and pulls a lever. You fall down a steep hole. What? You say. Confused, you pick up a key. There are 4 doors. You can pick which door you want to go through.
The end.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna leave you guys at a mystery.
I love it. It's really cool. What inspired you to write?
I don't know. I guess just because, like, so my friend really likes drawing, and then like I know that my dad likes writing the books, and he really wanted me to do it. And then I was just thinking ooh, maybe this is a good idea. So I started just writing about random things that popped up in my head. And like while I'm also in class, like things will pop up in my head and then I'll like just write them down on a sheet of paper. Like I'll just have a sheet of paper beside my work and like I'll write down different ideas for stories.
All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna continue the conversation, but I want to ask you, Dr. Burke, you have a question for them? I want to ask them one question about school.
No, go on. I'll follow.
And then yeah. So the two, maybe one or two questions. It's short answer. Do you enjoy, do you think there's a difference in the mindset of when you go to school, what if you're exercising your talents and your skills? Do you think it's the school is structured in a way that will help you to express yourself and what you're feeling? Or do you think that you have to condition yourself to go there, enjoy school, however you count enjoyment or what you classify it as? And then when you leave, you feel happy that you can be yourself outside? Or is it that you can be yourself there, complete your work, and exercise your skills there, and then do the same outside? Or you have to change every time you go to school, you change, and every time you come home, you're a different person per se? What do you think? Yeah, go on, Juliana, and then Daniel.
I mean, I kind of don't really change because I mean, the people that know me at school know me like while I'm at home, kind of. Like I interact the same amount with people as much as like I interact with people at school.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'll write stories not about my teacher only at home. Like I'll write about maybe like my friends want me to write something about them, then like I'll write something about my friends at school. But like when I'm at home, like I might write something about my mom or my grandma or something,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like so kind of I'll change because like in my writing, I'll change the topic.
Okay. So you change a little bit the mindset you're thinking. Okay. Daniel, what about you? Do you think that you become somebody else at school and then when you come home, you're somebody different, you know?
To be honest, that's a hard question to answer because every day is always a different day. So, I mean, like, I try to act the same so I can, like, I'm not really sure how to answer that question. It's like, I don't know.
Okay. So you try to be the same, but is it the forceful nature of school where you have to speed up yourself? You think a different way. You think of acceptance. If I behave this way, will my friends accept me? Will the teacher accept me in a certain way? And the way that we manage our behavior and regulate ourselves. If the systems that are in place, if I fit in perfectly well in those systems, and I will not be judged based on how I behave.
I mean, like, yes, of course, like, there's definitely like more people at school to judge you, but like, of course, at home, like, there's like, it's home. And then the school with a lot of teachers and a lot of friends, and you don't want to, like, if you mess up at home, whatever. But if you mess up at school, there's like more people watching you, and there's a little bit more pressure. But
Mhm. Okay. All right. Dr. Barker, you have final anything to say before we let them go?
I think it's just great just even hearing Juliana's story, just the way that you express, even the way you read your story. Um, it's just great to hear, the confidence and that willingness to be creative. I think what Juliana is saying as well is something that we have experienced, that as students grow and stay more longer in school, you'll find that the opportunity to be you changes slightly. And I think that's why you see that difference in maybe how both are experiencing school. Because like elementary, there's a lot more fun, there's a lot more, you can focus on your strengths, and people are willing to encourage you to do what you like, and you get time to focus on things and develop your ideas. And as you get into middle school, you're beginning to, I think I would say, being given boxes to fit into. And so you'll find, maybe, and Daniel can tell me if I'm wrong, you kind of feel like, you now have to figure out school and be more school-like. While, and the argument is, this is school, and when you get to the next level, you need to be ready for the next level, which is going to ask for being more school-like. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Daniel.
I think you hit it.
Was that?
You hit it on the head.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all his thought. What do you want, guys, before you leave, what do you want to say to young people out there, your age, or maybe older, or maybe younger? What do you want to say? Oh, Juliana, you have something you want to say. But, just tell us what you'd say to young people.
I mean, so like, I would kind of say like, don't give up on your dreams just because someone says you can't do it. I mean, like, some people said that I shouldn't write just because other people are doing it. And I thought that maybe my stories could be unique in some kind of way. So I didn't believe them. And then, like, here I am
Wow.
trying to make a book.
That's a good one. Daniel, what do you want to say to your friends?
I was definitely say the same thing. Like, don't give up on yourself. And another one is to work hard, because after you work hard, everything or most things will work out, because hard work and determination is what will get you there.
Yeah. Very good. All right, guys. Yeah.
Inspirational, yes.
Very inspirational. All right, take care. We're going to continue the show, but we're going to let them go. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. And Juliana,
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow, Daniel. And Juliana, I'll see you in a week or two.
All right, see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Jojo.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, Dr. Barker, this is really inspiring with our young people. And it's just two of them that we just had a chat with. But they're very reflective.
Yeah,
quite reflective in themselves. Do you think we need to restructure our programs in school? Because you're a wonderful principal and a leader. You're a leadership coach, and the accolades can be too much, and you earn them. I'm not heaping them on you because of status, but you earn these things, and you are very reflective. I'm wondering, and I'm asking myself the same question. I'm wondering if we're shortchanging our students, that they have to change when they come to school. We are restructured? Should we restructure our school system to fit the needs of young people in general?
I think the answer is certainly yes, but there are two pieces to that. Is what would that look like? That's maybe the first. There's a clear why. There's clear why. Normally say start with why, because it's the same system that we have had, despite many different revolutions, so to speak, in society. We had the Industrial Revolution, which wanted school to provide a purpose to support the goals of the Industrial Revolution. Then we had, we've been through a number of decades of war. We had world wars, which would have shifted what is important for societies. We have been through recessions, And then we have seen the digital age, which has made working harder, made things that we would have found difficult to do in the past more likely to be done at a faster pace.
Yeah.
We're seeing different skills needed than the ones that we needed in order to be successful. And maybe not necessarily different, but maybe at a greater degree in some, apart from others. And we are now seeing also post the pandemic, a different mindset, you know, that is there. So the question mark is that we certainly know that there is a why that drives this. But if we were to conceptualize an ideal future, what would that look like? You know?
Yeah. That's is a good one. Good question to follow up with the question. Because the reason I said that, you know, I'm looking over the years at how we, and you mentioned the different revolutions that cause us to focus our education on that. And it seemed like it is not, and this is really serious. It seemed like it is not to suit the individual creativity of students that we educate them, but to fit into some box out there. So if we are industrialized, then the students, the human beings have to change to fit the outcome. And so they end up ignoring their own creativity, ignoring their own personal gifts in order to fit a system, instead of just focusing on themselves as a human being. So it seemed like when we reach a certain age or anything, we just become robots to fit into a system, and we become parts of it. And some of us are not even good at those parts, to be in those parts. And so we become this problem for society because we don't fit into that outcome, instead of just being, and I'm not talking about criminals now, or drug pusher. I'm talking about genuine people, genuine creativity that we have to offer this earth, this world, and we turned out not to be those things that we were created to be. We try to fit into what the system asks us to do, and we never become good at it. And I'm wondering if a child comes into school and have to change, there's something wrong with the system itself. If a human being have to change to fit into the system,
Well,
to some degree, because we
you
have to
know,
grow and change.
that's the reason why it's called a system. But what you are what you are describing is, you see, the conversation has two parts to it, you know, but we tend to use words interchangeably in order to simplify. But in reality, there's a difference between schooling and education. And schooling is the system that is instituted to serve the needs of society at the time. That's what schooling is. So the school system serves a fundamental purpose in the achievement of strategic goals for a government. Largely, that achievement, that outcome is connected to the nature of the workforce that the government needs at that time, whenever each generation reaches workforce age, to achieve the strategic goals of that country. So schooling is that. Schooling decides on the skills that will be needed. Schooling decides on the content that will be needed. Schooling decides on the type of values and attitudes that the students will have when they reach that point. And so that's schooling. Education is a whole different thing.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Education might never need a system, even though we call it an education system, because we can learn anywhere. The students learn after school, like the ones we just saw. Education is a whole different thing.
Yes.
Governments aren't interested in an education system, because if they were, there would be more focused on providing school systems that recognize that students aren't necessarily going to develop at the same time. And hence, it would seem quite silly to put them all in the same grade simply because of the date that they were manufactured, because they're all different and some of them bloom different times. But we don't have a system that can accommodate that. What we have is a schooling system which says, we'll pack you in this age. And, so part of the discussion has to be around what are the objectives of a schooling system and what might be the objectives of an education system.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. And you're right, they call it education system, but it's really schooling.
Yeah.
It's not. I love the point that you said that, like, these students, Juliana and Danielle, who came on this tonight, they actually get education outside of school. They're being educated outside of school. And to me, Dr. Barker, I was thinking, that's exactly when the true creativity occurs, when you leave all the expectations and you're in that realm of time with you and you alone, and with the pen and paper or with your camera in Daniel's case, and that whole essence of you and that instrument alone, that is creativity. And if our school system could take this on to identify in students their skills and the patterns of creativity in them. Because one of the things I looked at too in mathematics, over the years I've seen it, and I changed my approach. And I'm talking about mathematics because you can identify it, you're a mathematician. The way in which students solve problems could be varied. And a lot of mathematics teachers said, this is the way I teach you, this is how you're supposed to do it. And whatever you're doing, I don't know where you got that method from, but this is how I want it. And we damage a lot of kids by just allowing them to do it our way, quote unquote, our way that we have learned it. And we sometimes don't open up ourselves to different approaches, different algorithms or methods. And so we actually lose those kids. Over time, they just hate math because they don't learn to reflect it in the straight and narrow path way of solutions that we give them. And so we lose them. Yeah.
Well, school, as I say, if it's a schooling system, then the goals are never going to be about enjoyment. It's not going to be about creativity. It's not going to be about meeting the needs of students in terms of where they are and what accommodations they need in order to be successful. In fact, it's not about a place where students actually find success, in as much as whether that success aligns with the same success that. So the people who are successful in school systems tend to be the people who conform,
True.
who follow the rules, develop at the same time as expected in terms of the schooling system, who recognize that the answer that they write has to match the answer the teacher has in their head.
Yes, that is so true.
When they are responding, and that's even even writing a story, when they are responding, they always have to think, what does the teacher want? And not what I understand this to be or where my brain takes it. And it's the same student who will be told that the answers are in the back of the book.
Oh my goodness.
Can't look,
so,
but you can't look.
Yeah, oh man.
So the schooling is different from an education, because if we were educated, all of what I just described would work the other way. Yeah. What's the purpose of, all right, let's stay in math And I am a math teacher when I was a math teacher. And I didn't have this contradiction when I was a math teacher, but now that I am thinking a lot more about the distinctions between schooling and education, I realized where I was also a willing participant in the schooling of students. You know,
Yes.
The typical question a student will always ask you is, why we need to learn this? You know, I have no use of algebra in my life. And teachers tend to respond. Certainly I would, at the time when I did, would say, you know, mathematics teaches you certain skills. And while you may not use algebra, you may use the skills that are developed as you understand algebra. So the ability to think symbolically, think abstract, the ability to use logic, the ability to solve problems, the ability to think creatively is the intention of algebra, and to communicate a process.
Yeah.
And I'll try to use that as a way of explaining algebra, the why of algebra. But in many ways, it made me wonder about, now I look back and I say, if those were the things that we were supposed to be teaching then, and algebra is just the vehicle, why did we put it in that order? Why didn't we just teach problem solving and then say, so when you follow me saying, like, I think, why don't we teach?
I understand what you're saying.
Problem solving.
Yeah.
And then when they come to problem solving class, you say, today we're going to have a look at an aspect of math that will help you to learn problem solving. Because you're not hear a child ask the question, why do we need to learn problem solving?
Yeah, never at all. Or critical thinking.
Yeah,
never.
It wouldn't be a sensible. It's an easy answer, right?
Yeah. That's true. And a lot of times if we give them the scenario first and then show them the vehicle, which is the algebra to get to there, just show them. It's just like a navigation system. You don't find the path first. You find the destination first, and then it guides your path to get to there. So if we can show them, the problem solving problem, and then show them how we problem solve to get to that destination, which is using the methods of algebraic thinking, then I think it will be more meaningful for students, really. It's the same thing in reading and writing as well. They might you say write something. Why do I have to write? You know, but then later on, they realize after they leave school and they never develop the skills in the right way, they can't write a cover letter. So they end up not getting the job because they don't know how to write even a persuasive essay.
Yeah, well,
if we start with the reason, if they start with the reason, then that persuasive writing becomes the vehicle of getting there to their destination. So
but
really,
imagine if they were going to creativity class and not English class.
Oh my God, that would be really wonderful.
What if they were going to creative thinking class, right? And not English language.
Yeah.
Or even art or music. Or design. The class is called creativity. And when they go to creativity, they're given tasks or given opportunities, authentic opportunities to develop their creative thinking processes and all that. And one of the ways in which they would do that is to write a poem using language creatively.
Yeah.
What that shifts, they'd have to learn language still. They'd have to learn poetry. They have to learn metaphors. They have to learn literary devices.
Yeah.
Because these are the tools of creativity in writing, right? But the focus isn't on poetry, which a child will always say, I have no use of poetry. I don't like poems, and I will never have to use a poem. And no
Yes.
matter what argument you make, oh yeah, but they can say, yeah, but I don't imagine me doing a job where all I do is write poems. So why am I needing these skills? But what about if it was creativity? You can always make the case that, yeah, but you're going to need to be creative if you're a marketing agent. If you're going to be, if you are, whatever you do, you'll need creativity.
Yes.
So the main point here, school was designed, or schooling was instituted by governments to achieve a particular goal. Those goals are still not met. That's why we still have schooling systems. But societies which are willing to buck that trend, to say, let's change the way how learning is delivered in our country, are the ones that are going to be prepared for a new world.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we really have to ask ourselves those questions, around when will we change? I mean, if you look at someone's timetable in 1960, I remember we were doing a show once, I think it was a EduTALK as well, a while back. And there was this man who said that he went back to his school after about 30 years. And he went back to his science class. And he said they were doing the exact same topic in grade 7 that he was doing. The first topic was germination, I remember. He said, and they're still doing germination in grade 7, about 30 years later, first topic.
Oh my God.
So we know that is the case in many places. So the question is, we can speculate, we can theorize, we can, dream, but I just believe that we need to start looking at breaking the boundaries around the subjects we teach, because there's nothing that is based on one discipline. Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything is interdisciplinary. Every invention, every real thing is three-dimensional, and it requires at least two disciplines to create that three-dimensional product. So the reason is simply that governments have a goal, and those goals are still being met by schooling. Because if you don't have a big future that can accommodate a lot of creative thinkers, you can't train them. There's no need.
It's true.
Because you create a problem for yourself.
Yeah, it's very true.
But
there's
if you have
another
a big future,
yeah,
needs creative thinkers, a big strategic future, then you have to change the system.
Yeah.
And you look at Jamaica that has said they want to introduce creative thinking. For example, they look at the PEP exam. But the PEP exam is more focused on assessing critical thinking and teaching it. And when the kids leave the PEP, they go straight into high school, which don't have PEP anymore. So you don't have a full all the way through system that says this is important.
Yeah,
and yet teachers college, and they're not teaching the teachers how to teach creative thinking. They're still doing the same thing.
Same, yeah. They're like sheep.
Well, we all are sheep, right?
We are, yeah. Some of us are lambs.
I was at a workshop the other day, and the lady said, she said, working with teachers is like herding cats. Fascinated me, because I've heard people say herding sheep, right? But never say herding cats. So during the break, I went up to her and I said, I'm still trying to process that Was it deliberate? And I am not even sure if it was a compliment when you said it, or, you know, a slur in some ways. So she said, listen, have you ever seen a group of cats doing anything together yet?
Dr. Marka, we're going to leave it at that. We're seriously leaving it at that. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Marka, as usual, co-hosting with me here. And we want to extend a very warm thank you to Danielle Kaplan and Juliana. Juliana and Dice, you are very close to my heart. Super. All right. So what we want you guys to do is to subscribe to Education Solutions International YouTube page. Please subscribe. Also subscribe to our website, educationsolutionsinternational.org. And you will have another show just like this next week, okay, when we'll feature students. I think next week is the last week of May, so we'll get some students to be on again. So just for a little bit to talk to them, see how they're doing in school. Thank you so much, everybody, for viewing. We do appreciate if you like us, and also share, because these topics, when we talk to people, they're very worthwhile, and they help to change the mindset of people, because that's what we want to do. All right. Dr. Barker, enjoy your day, and we will enjoy our sleep while we go to sleep. We'll talk soon. All right.
Take care, man.
Yeah, take care. All the best to you. All right, take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
And we will see you next week.